Hello and welcome back. We started talking about Diels-Alder reactions, and we said the main problem with them is that whenever we push the temperature to increase the efficiency, we will have a retroreaction. And the retroreaction, it will take the final product, turn it back to the starting compound. What's the reason behind it? The reason we said we are taking a pi bond and turning it to sigma bond, and that's a good thing. Delta H of this process is going to be negative, but we are taking two molecules and pairing them, turning them to one. That means the entropy change with entropy of the system, it will be negative number, and that's a bad thing. And now when I take the negative for the entropy and I multiply to minus T, that's going to give me a positive term. Now, if delta H happen to be bigger than minus T delta S, of course, the reaction is going to be spontaneous. Delta G, it will be negative, and that means we can't have it. But the problem is whenever we push the temperature to increase the efficiency, we will have minus T delta S bigger than delta H. That means delta G, it will be a negative term. That means the reaction will be non-spontaneous. Now, the question is there any trick or any way to bypass this one? The trick is to put the electron withdrawing group on the dienophile. And this one is the diene, and the one with the single pi, single double or triple bond, we call it dienophile because it wants to interact with the diene. So we're going to put electron withdrawing group attached to the dienophile, and that's going to actually increase the efficiency of the system. And how does it do it? In fact, electron withdrawing group is playing with position of HOMO and LOMO of both reactants. And so in this case, we did not change anything about the diene, so stay as it is, but we put the electron withdrawing group on the dienophile, and that electron withdrawing group will bring the LOMO, the lowest unoccupied orbital, down, and that's going to increase the efficiency of the system. And you might see this actual electron withdrawing group attached to dienophiles, and you can have let's say carbonyl or an ester group or carboxylic or say cyanide. Cyanide, we have a carbon that's attached to nitrogen through triple bond. And because the hybridization for carbon, it will be sp, while the double bond, it has sp2. So the cyanide will pull electron density from the double bond. Also, we have nitrogen, which is more electronegative than the carbon atoms of the carbon atom of the double bond. So we will lose electron density to nitrogen. Okay. Now, there are some facts about these other reactions that we need to technically watch them or include them whenever we try to write the structure of the final product. And we say these other reactions are stereospecific. What does it mean? It means whatever you started with, the configuration that you have it for the starting compound, you will get it at the inside the product. For example, we have cis or Z dienophile. So this is my dienophile. I have two X group. They are on the same side, so I'm going to call them cis or Z. When do I use cis? Whenever we have only two substituents sitting on, like on the double bond. But if you replace them by 3 or 4 substituents, then you have to go with Z or E. And so how should I draw the product? And the first step, just simply label the diene. I go 1, 2, 4. Next step, I'm going to find the double bond on the dienophile, and I will connect it. I will connect both sides of the double bond to the diene. And as you see, that's going to give me a ring. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to get a ring that it has 6 members. And that's my ring. And also, remember this, that's clockwise or counterclockwise, or so clockwise or counterclockwise, and the double bonds can move. So this bond is going to move here, that one is going to move there, and this one is going to move there. And so what do we get? We get one double bond here. Next thing is we will get an X's, one here and one there. Now, where should I show them? Like up or down? And use this trick. Just simply highlight the double bond. And anything on the left side of the double bond, send it down. What do I have on the left side of the double bond? I'm going to show whatever we have. We have hydrogen. Let's call this 1. Okay. Then we have hydrogen here. We're going to call it 2. Okay, so hydrogen number 1 and 2, they will be pointing down. So I go hydrogen number 1 and hydrogen number 2, they will be pointing down, while X1 and X2, they will be pointing up. And of course, I can have the enantiomer of it, and an enantiomer of it, in that case, if you take, for example, the molecule and just simply rotate it, you will have this. You will have the X1 and X2. And okay. you will have them on the left side, and if you track them with the diene, this time they will go down. So the next molecule, it will be the enantiomer of it, and you can show it this way. This time send the X's down, and the hydrogen atoms, they will be pointing up. Okay, and that's the reason whenever we write the product, we say plus En, which is this one, is that enantiomer. Okay, so in this case, and both X's are going to be on the same side, either up or down. Whenever we start with like a cis. So I started with cis dienophile, and what did I get? Position of the two chloride, two X's relative to each other will be cis. Now, how about the trans? Again, we're going to track those. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do I get? This is the structure that I'm going to get. And okay, we said anything on the left, we're going to send it back. Okay, so I have, let's say this one, we're going to call it X1. So we have hydrogen here, hydrogen 1. That's going to be X2. And this one, it will be hydrogen 2. Okay, hydrogen 1, it will go down, and X2 also, it will go down, while hydrogen number 1, it will be pointing up, and X number 1 as well. So X1 and H2, and of course, we get an enantiomer of it. And what's an enantiomer? Change position of the change, like bring the X2 up, and hydrogen number 1 also up, and send X1 and H2 down. Okay, so now I'm gonna look to position of X1 and X2 and see where they are standing relative to each other. At the beginning, they were across of the double bond, so we called it trans or E. Now, when I looked at them, I can see one X is up and one X is down. So I'm gonna say position of the X's relative to each other is gonna be trans. Okay. And so we started with trans, we got trans. Cis, we started with cis, we got cis. And that's the reason we say the reaction is a specific, stereospecific. Whatever you start with, the configuration, whatever you start with, you will get it again at the end. And that's the reason I call the reaction stereospecific. Okay, now what's the reason behind it? The reason behind it, remember, you are using pi orbitals. And pi orbitals, in order to, okay, so, my bad, I'm saying p orbital. I should say p orbital. I'm using p orbital. And those p orbital, okay, at the beginning, their molecules, they build pi interactions. Now, you want to use p orbital, and from each molecule, so for example, from diene, and you want to interact it with another p orbital from dienophile to get sigma interaction. Okay, only way to get sigma interaction is to have head-to-head interaction. Otherwise, if they are parallel, they will give you pi interaction. So we want them to go head-to-head interaction, and they need to have the same faces. So if this one, for example, let's say red, and that one also red, and the attraction between these two, it will be constructive, and it will be sigma. And because this one is positive, that one is positive, and because the two faces are reaching each other, they have the same color, so I'm going to call it constructive interference. Only way to get constructive interference is to, like to bring the molecule, the dienophile, either from the bottom of the molecule or from the top. Both of them are possible, from the top or from the bottom. And that's the reason always you get an enantiomer, and you get another version of the molecule. And as you see here, because they have same faces, they can give you constructive interference. And because it's a head-to-head interaction, they are reaching from the bottom, reaching to the p orbital, and because it's a head-to-head, we call it sigma interaction. Now, what will happen if I put like one substituent on one side of the one side of this diene, and see what will happen? So we have diene, but there is one substituent, and this one is like a CH3. Okay, again, I have a cis molecule here. I'm gonna interact them, Nothing surprising until now. And we said anything on the left, we will send it. We will send, forgive me, we will send it bottom of the molecule. So the 2 hydrogen, they will go down, and I get this. Double bond here, these 2 fluoride up. Okay, and where's the methyl? Okay, where do you want to put the methyl? I might put the methyl up. That's one way, or maybe down. Okay, so how about this? Okay, we said plus enantiomer of it. The enantiomer, it will be this one. 2 fluorides are the 2 fluoride are down. Okay, until now, these 2 are enantiomer. Okay, but we have 1 carbon, and it's this carbon. That carbon, it has carbon number 4. It has 1 substituent. We started 1, 2, 3, 4. Carbon number 4. It has 1 methyl group attached to it. Where should I put the methyl group? Okay, let me copy paste those 2 for myself. Okay, I can put the methyl group facing to us. Okay, so the methyl group is facing to us. Okay. And this one, CH3, CH3. And now look to the fluoride. Fluoride, both of them up. Now we send them back. So what happened to them? The configuration of the fluoride, the carbon with the fluoride substituent, got flipped, but the methyl stayed as it is. Methyl did not change. And so what didn't happen? Half of the molecule got flipped, while the rest still stayed as it is. So the relationship between these 2 will be diastereomer instead of enantiomer. Okay, again, let's prove it. I go, this one, it will be R here. That's going to be S configuration. And here we have, let's see, we have 1, okay, 2. This one will be 3. And this one will be S configuration. Of course, that's going to be S configuration. And how about this one? This one is going to be 1, 2, 3. This one will be R configuration. And how about that one? It will be 1, 1, 2. This will be S configuration. So I have S, and R configuration, and turn to S, R, and S configuration. Let's highlight these 2. Okay, these 2 got flipped. We had SR turn to RS. But how about this center? This center stayed as it is. And because one of the center did not flip, and so I'm going to say the relationship between them, it will be diastereomer.